All right. I have no clue if this is going to work. I have no clue if anybody's going to watch this. But we're going to try. And please let me know if that annoying music is too loud. I find it a little annoying right now, but I also find it annoying to have none. So we'll see. I got the whole lo-fi thing going on here. We'll see how that goes. All right, we're going to work on issue 926. That is from September of last year and has actually been requested quite a lot. And I'm also going to need that eventually. So I thought I'm going to pull this forward a little bit. It's currently in a project called Post Wi-Fi Architecture / Cleanup. Basically, the plan is to make the Wi-Fi architecture of Enzyme feature complete. And then after that, there is an entire project here. Let me open that. There's an entire project here that is cleanup. That is things like, hey, I would love to be able to mark all alerts on a page as resolved, for example. There's stuff you can't zoom in a graph right now. Column sorting, all those things that were kind of left over. Before we start to tackle Ethernet, we're gonna start working on that. So yeah, so this one should be pretty simple. Basically, we want to be able to put the names of environment variables into the tap configuration file. And then the tap should load those environment variables that have been requested and use that as the actual configuration value. That is useful if you are doing anything like Docker, for example. If you want to maybe not put any sort of secret, even though secrets in Enzyme, any secrets in the node are encrypted in the database, but maybe there's some things that you don't want to put in the actual file, but want to keep them in environment variables. I do think that the most common use case for that is probably Docker-like environments where you pass those in just like here, right? You add all of these environment variables, and then the config file should remain static, and the config file just references things like leader, secret leader, URI. And if you look into this ticket, my friend Trevor here was so nice, and he added some more context to that. It basically comes down to what I just mentioned. And then December 14, I moved that into the correct milestone. But yeah, so I thought you will see somewhere, I think there was a Discord conversation somewhere, I believed that the library that we're using to parse the configuration file would already support this environment variable substitution, but it does not. I was wrong. So we're going to add that. Now we could go and we could try to add that to the library and make that go back in upstream maybe later. For now, what we're going to do, if we look at our example config file here, what we're going to do is we will keep on parsing these things as strings. So now types are going to be an interesting question in here, but we're going to keep on parsing those as strings, and we will then look for some sort of a special syntax we're going to come up with, and we're gonna replace whatever's in it. So let's say, so it's going to our real config file. This is my real config file. Let's say we wanted to replace the leader URI with a environment variable. So what we would probably do is we would do stuff like, I would think something like this, right? And then we would parse the string. We would look for anything that looks like a dollar, curly braces, and then whatever is in it, and close the curly braces again. And then if that matches an environment variable with that name, then we're going to replace that. I'm thinking, I mean, this is user input, but if you can set those, then I don't think there's any risk. Like, I don't think we need any further validation of what's going on in here, probably. I want to make this the same syntax as what we are using in our node config file to keep that nice and clean. So I think that for this one, I forgot what library we're using for this. We're using some sort of a config. Oh, it's a type safe config. Okay, you know what? Type save Java config somewhere here, and we should add that to the enzyme documentation as well. But somewhere deep in here, there should be search for environment. There you go, environment variables. There we go. Yeah, so that's the one. So they do the same substitution here. Okay, looks good. So now the question, I think what we have to think through is, it's pretty simple for these things, right? For strings, we can literally just do a replacement. I'm thinking about types now. So you will want to be able to pass types as well. So that means we know what we expect. So in this case, we're expecting an array of unsigned integers. This one here would be a single integer and Boolean. So I think that we would want to support that. Maybe. And what would that look like? So the problem is that because we're extending an existing library, it can't fail. So that means the problem is that if we did something like just like this, right, and called it like except insecure asserts. Oh god, something like this. It will just fail. It's just gonna refuse to parse it because that's not a type it understands. So in that case, so what we could say is that we simply always make this a string, right? And then we would have to complete the actual. We would have to do the parsing. So that would mean we turn basically everything into a string. The benefit of that is that we could do things like, you know, like extend it with libraries, like now we could extend it with environment variables. So we could do something like this. So you would always have to, that's actually maybe not so bad. It would be confusing now because you would end up with this where it can be both, can it? That is kind of annoying. Let's look into that library one more time. If we can maybe extend it with our own type somehow. It's probably using Serde. It's using Serde. Okay. You know, this is one of these cases where you think, oh, that's going to be real easy. And it's not. Yep. Okay, let's see. Before we go too deep into that, Rust Tommel. Maybe someone thought about this. Because you know what? What if I was right? Because as far as I know, cargo does this, and I would be surprised. Well, look at that. I would be surprised if cargo is not using the TOML library under the hood. Let's see. From when is this? It's just on GitHub. Yeah. Yeah, great. 3 stars, 2 years ago. Allows you to derive your environment configuration from TOML. The environment struct holds a reference from your environment record to the configuration. This, yeah, no, this is not what we want. This is not what we want at all. Okay. How are they doing that in cargo? Oh, look at that. Cargo also doesn't support it, apparently. So there is an alternative to this that could also be... that could be considered. We could also go and we could say, you know what? Just pass all this in with... just pass all this in with the CLI, because we already have somewhere in here, we already do... there you go. We already do this with arguments, so we could do a thing where we have the arguments that we're passing take precedence over... That might actually not be bad. So where we have the arguments take precedence over the config file, in that case, we could say you don't even need a config file. You just do stuff like, it would look like enzyme tap dash dash, like what do we have here? We have layer secret equals, you know, and we could do the same thing with probably all the rest as well. Bring this back to what it was. So we could pass leader secret, certainly leader URI. Let's see if you know what, let's see if it can, if it does some sort of automatic conversion here. So let's say, it's like this one. Let's add a new CLI parameter, accept insecure certs, make it a bool, and then that makes sense. So we could do, and then we just require all of them. So short and long, we only need this short, long. And so this means this should still launch because we pass the configuration file right here. Yep. This still launches. And so let's output what we have just as a test. So info, insecure. Arcs, except insecure certs. This one should be false. It didn't. What? It did not put anything. Eh? Oh, because, yeah, logging wasn't initialized yet. Okay. Try again. So exactly is false. So let's see. And if I added this and set accept insecure certs true. Run that. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, typo. Insecure certs. What am I doing? Oh, because it's a Boolean. So it just looks like this. True. Okay. So Boolean, pretty clear. Let's try this with, I mean, string is probably also super clear. Let's try it with, oh no, this is going to be messy. You know why? Because with like arrays, that's going to be a disaster. We don't want that. Yeah, the problem is if we try to pass all of this, and this is an array. So Wi-Fi interface is an array of this interface description. So trying to pass all of that in with CLI parameters is going to be a disaster. So we're not going to do that either. Okay, I think we're back to trying to substitute this. But you know what the next problem is? I don't think we'd be able to substitute this. Like, how would we? We almost have to pre-process this. Is this the answer? So, because the problem is that if we did something like this is not going to pass because these would both like, this is the name of the Wi-Fi interface. So because this turns into an array, this is just not going to work. Because it would just, this for the parser is a syntax error. So we would, in that case, what we can do, I believe that somewhere in the config loading, we're turning this into a string. So this is where we load the config, and this is what we expect. So what we are doing, now that might be the answer. Exactly. So config string is a string where we have simply read the entire file into a string in memory. So we can go and we can manipulate config string. So we can do a replace on config string. That's the answer. Okay. Because we're passing a string in memory to the TOML parser. So if we replace potential environment variables, we can do that. That means the string has to be mutable, which I don't think TOML cares about. It does not. Okay, so for that, we can create a new, what are we in? What does this look like? We are, okay, this is a very simple function. So we can create a private function, substitute. I cannot type substitute. Is that how you spell this? I think so. Substitute environment variables, which takes a config string, which is a pointer to a string. We should be able to get these variables here and returns a new string. Okay. Okay, so you know what? We're creating a new string. We don't need to make this one. We're just gonna do substitute environment variables. We're just gonna pass this in here. What? What? Oh. Yeah, we can actually use a string pointer. Let's do that one. Oh. That was not the issue. Keep this one. Return a static string. Looks way better. Okay. So what we're going to do for now is we're just going to return the original string again. So nothing changed. So we can play around with this a little bit. So let's just ensure that this is actually how we think this is working by just looking at the config we are receiving here, just to make sure. But this should be just one-to-one the file that it read. Let's see. So let's run this, and this should just throw the entire config file at us. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now let's see, how do we get all the environment variables? Rust get environment variables. Here we go. Come on. There we go. It's a static function on env. Okay. Well, let's see. Env. Oh, there we go. Gives us a result. Okay. Sounds good. Returns the result. Don't have a string or an arrow, so we can do. Now it's going to unwrap it for now. So we're going to do. And var, what kind of environment variables do we have that I could play with right now? You know what? We're going to set one. We're going to call it the enzyme leader secret. Environments variables. Here we go. Enzyme leader secret. We're just going to set this to 1 to 3 right now. And let's see if we can get it. Enzyme leader secret unwrap. That should work. There we go. Okay, so we're loading that. So let's try this. We're gonna create a new config file. And we're gonna call it enzyme tap with environment variables.conf, and we're gonna there we go. Replace this with okay. That should work. Okay, so what we have to do then is first of all change the configuration so it's loading enzyme tap env.conf, loading with this. And then we have to, we're going to do this with a regular expression. We have to find in this string, we have to find everything that starts with a, and then cut out that. That looks like a regular expression. I have never used regular expressions in Rust ever. So we're going to go to our trusty Rubular. This is our test string, and we're going to test our regular expression where we say, give me everything that has $, this, and then capture everything in between. Okay. And can we capture the entire thing as well? No, what we need, we want to do a replace, right? So we would want to replace everything that matches. We want to replace we want to get the whole thing. So we want to replace, let's get rid of that. Can we not replace? Here we go. There we go. Okay, let's try this. So if we add also, there we go. And I am almost 100% sure that Rust has some sort of a regular expression match and replace function. So what we could do is we could use this regular expression and say, replace all these matches with, and then we're going to parse out. Why is it not up? And then we're gonna, there we go. That could work somehow. We're gonna find this environment variable. And we're going to replace this entire thing with it. Let's see what happens. No, you know, no, that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is, because we would have to, this cannot be one function call really, because we can't really manipulate this out in one call. So what we're going to do is we're only going to capture these, and then we're going to look in to the environment variables and find out if this exists as an environment variable. If it does, we're going to do a string replace on the entire, we're going to do a string replace on the entire string, which is the file representation, and add these to the search string. That's going to work. Okay. Okay, so what we would have to do is then we have to find all, first of all, add like one more of these here. We would have to go and we would say extract all environment variables to substitute. I cannot type today. Okay, give me 1 second here. I got a text. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if Rust can give us a vector of strings out of that. Can you tell that I've worked at a log management company before? I'm pretty good at regular expressions, I can promise you that. Rust regex. Will I regret this? Most likely. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. Sure. I want all of them. Give me all of them. Oh boy. Okay. There's my regex. This is the hay. And then where is it? Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, this can do an iterator on the. Okay, we're going to use the stress. Okay. Well, let's find out. We will be using. I'm going to take this. I'm in the wrong IDE. Actually, we can close this one. We don't need this one. And then this can go here. Let's find out. That looks good. Regex new. Here's my regex. Does this need double escaping? Let me guess. Every... Yeah, here we go. This is true in every goddamn programming language of the world. Why does it highlight this in an odd way? Redundant. What? Why is this redundant and that one isn't? Excuse me? Okay. Oh, it has... Oh, this is like a special literal kind of situation. Okay. Look at this. Okay. Sure. Learned something new. Which means... There's our regex. And then regex does appear... this is static, so I can call unwrap on it, and then... What did they do? Unwrap. Captures. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Why not? In the config string, is this how it wants it? It does not want it that way. How does it want it? It wants... yeah, that doesn't make any sense. There we go. Can we map this? We can map this. Okay. Can we collect this? We can. What would... Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. Let's look at that example again. Okay, we have to call extract on it. And then they are doing something... I don't care about these things. So we're gonna... We can probably map it, call extract on it, and then collect it. Okay. Map. This is our match. We'll call it M for match. M. Dot it. Okay. What? Extract is what I wanted. What is the... How does this work again? What is this returning? This returns... Jesus. Yeah, is this not... Opa, sorry, is this not... Let's see. Let's see what comes out of it. It's not doing it. The fuck? Okay, this is probably because it can infer the type. We're gonna call this result and specify it. Can we do... Can you tell that I've not worked with regex in Rust yet? This should say the same thing, right? Is it? Yeah. Let's look at it. Extract. You know what? I like this explicit way of doing it way more. I'm just gonna take this straight out of this bad boy. Come on. We're gonna have I'm going to call them requested and names, which I want to be a vector of strings. Yeah, this needs to be mutable. Beautiful. It's just not. Where is his problem? Oh. We can unwrap it because it's static. This never changes. So this either works or doesn't. And so... push. Equal ID. I don't know what that means. What is ID? Yeah. Come on. Ha! Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is almost the same, except we are now, instead of calling collect on it, we're just a little more specific about it. Yeah, I like that, actually. Okay. Now, sure. We could probably store this regex somewhere, but it's only called once. So who cares? Doesn't make any difference. Yeah, let's see what we got. This can go away. So this probably needs a debug. Yeah. This should now spit out enzyme leader secret and enzyme leader URI, and it should spit that out without the syntax around it. Let's see. Might crash. I might just yeah, that's exactly what I said. Can't parse that because that's not TOML, but you see that? That worked. So what we can do now, we can now for requested and requested env names. We can now check if requested environment variable exists, and we now want to return an error if it doesn't. So what we're going to do is we're now returning a result of string or error. This no, wrong. I did not want that one. If our love was a flower in June, ain't no way that flower won't bloom. Meet me off Contra Costa around noon. It's a two-seater, but we got room to stare. But I don't care. No, I'm not. You know what? This one might complain. Yeah. Well, we're gonna make it a string. Who cares? Because what we can do now. What? Hold on, what am I? See, I keep on importing the wrong one. It should be anyhow error. Yeah. That should work. Yeah. So, you know what? This is where my Rust always gets fucked up. Is this working? This is totally gonna work. This is my current state of Rust where I just try it and I hope it works. And usually it does. Now, what this means, though, now we have to do an error check. So we're gonna do the following. We're gonna make a substitute. I swear to God, I cannot spell this. Substituted. Of string is that. Could not substitute environment variables and configuration. Substitute. See, there's no typo in here. It's a terrible word. There we go. Okay, so we got error checking. Beautiful. Okay. Rolling. How do we check if it exists? So let and value equals yeah. No environment variable defined cannot substitute. There's definitely going to be a typo in here at the end of the day. Yep. Okay. Okay, what is the problem with you? Oh. Fine. Can we do it? Never know. This is probably not going to work. So we're going to clone it because... Okay, hold on. That should work. That works. And then you can also include the original error. I don't know what else there would be, but you don't want to have a situation where you don't pass the actual error along, and then you always tell that it doesn't exist. You know what? But then this has to change. Cannot huge environment variable. There we go. Okay, that means we have now our environment variable here, and so that means that we should be able to run a replace on the string. Rust replace. All right, sounds about right. I've been developing software for 20 years now, and I Googled this for absolutely everything. Beautiful. Replace. Love it. Makes sense. So, however, no. This only, I do not care about performance at this point. I'm going to call this in a loop. I'm sure there's maybe a way to do this in one wash. But this only runs once at startup. I'm going to keep this simple over completely optimized. So we're going to just replace it over and over again. Do I care if somebody manages to build? Yeah, I probably should. I'm wondering if somebody would manage to somehow build like a recursive call in here, you know, where you replace it with another thing that you then have to replace, which you then have to replace, and then you probably guess you just spin forever. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the end value does not include the dollar sign. If end value contains avoid endless recursion if someone passes a end variable replacement thing as replacement. You know, we're going to think about these things. I do not care about other syntax errors. That is the user's responsibility. This will then simply fail with a parsing error, but this is probably something we should figure out. What is this single character string used as a pattern? Yeah. Okay, sure. Invalid character in environment in value of environment or variable. Requested. Okay. Sure. Okay. And then we're going to on the config string. That probably means that it has to be mutable. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new one. Substitute it. Also important that we now do actually return that one. This can go away. This is a very good wine, by the way. This is an Italian wine. Montepulciano, did you know that when I was 12 years old, I was a Montepulciano? Beautiful there. Didn't drink wine back then. Maybe should have. Thinking about it, maybe should have. Okay, we're gonna go, and this is also wrong because it should be this. And we will go into the substituted string and replace the occurrence of requested, but the occurrence of requested in its entire syntax. We're going to replace the entire request syntax with the environment value. This thing is unhappy. Okay, this probably has to be, yeah, that's what I thought. Here we go. Beautiful. This probably... Can it do that? What? This is insane. Okay. Can I add string to... Oh, come on. What the fuck? How have I never appended strings in Rust? This is kind of insane. I'm not sure if I've ever. If I've ever. Jesus fuck. Okay. Oh, I hate this. Can I do that? This doesn't look right, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I hate that. Do I really have to Google how to... I don't think I've ever done that. Like, for real, I've never... Because this is a string, literal. Like, how do I... Request it as a string? The fuck? Oh, okay, hold on. Rust. And literal to string. Yeah, that's what I thought. Push. Yeah. Oh god, that... I mean, strings in Rust are just... Sure. I mean, that's the worst. It's, I mean, it's probably gonna work, but... You kidding me? This probably has to be a pointer. Yeah. Okay. Fine. What does push string return? Push string returns nothing. Ah. Okay. That's what we're gonna do. Here's a string. You got it. My god. More. String. No, this is not mutable. Jesus. This is the worst. Fine. Are you kidding me? There we go. Okay. Oh god, what the... What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Cannot return value. Sure. Okay. What? Huh? Reference to a local variable was returned. Sure. Sure. Doesn't do that because probably the same error. Nope. Yeah, that's something. Can I do this? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. That worked. Yeah, see, that's not a problem. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. Temporary value drop while borrowed. Okay, hold on. Replace returns a new string. So can we do this and then say string replace? Why? Why? That's not true. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Can't move. Of course you can. Ah, there we go. Okay. Now what's your problem with this? Sure, this can actually be a push with a single character lateral. I don't care. I guess the question is, could I? This must be the same. Come on now. There we go. Okay. Okay. This might work. This should now complain that we don't. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, enzyme leader URI is not defined. Let's define it. We're gonna set it to my local host here, 22900. So this one. Now it should start. Yeah, because it has to be. So this, I can live with that. I can live with that. I can live with that. Yep. Okay, it's loading this. So let's try and set the actual leader secret. There we go. Yep. Okay, then let's actually. That worked. The node is not running, so that's fine. Let's see if this also works with. What with this one? We're just gonna call it channels. Yep. That works. Okay. I mean, I think that might be it. Because the tap is still so early, we don't have unit tests in here, but that should work. So now we have to document it though. So let's open our enzyme docs. And we're gonna First of all, pull the current version up to date. Pin this one up. Okay. Okay, I think we need a new section here called MISC or something, I don't know. And then we're going to call this environment variables. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to go location loading monitoring, create a new folder, MISC. In that, we're going to create a new file and call that environment variables. Here we go. Okay. Variables. You can use environment variables to substitute parts of your enzyme node. I don't need the, what do I, there we go, I don't want this. Oh, there we go. Of your enzyme node and tab. You can use environment variables to substitute parts. Enzyme node, enzyme tab, configuration files. This can be very useful for dynamic deployments like container environments in container environments or similar situations. Replace A. To substitute part of your configuration file. You can use the following syntax. And the variable name. This would look like this in a enzyme node configuration file. A enzyme tab configuration file would look like this. Parts. Okay. There we go. It's not a great example. Nah, that was better this way. Actually, adapter 1. looks good. And you know what? We're gonna, just to show that you don't have to set this for everything. Yep. Perfect. You know what? Okay, I think that's a good example. Oh shit, what did I just do? Did that just change something? I didn't, okay. Now, yeah, okay, so for the node, this would look like take this one. It would look like I mean, it would look exactly the same way, right? Here we go. Yep. There we go. Can replace any part of the variable if needed. The read process enzyme node or enzyme tab will abort if a referenced environment variable. That's it. There you go. So we have to add this to this one. Under configuration, we're gonna have misnl. That's how you spell that? You know what I'm gonna do. That's not how you spell that. There you go. Environment variables is going to be configuration misc. Oh, this should be a dash, not underscore. Okay. Yep. Miscellaneous environment variables. There you go. That's it. All right, we're going to push that in mk.build. I'm going to add it all together. Nah. We're gonna add this one first. Environment variables docs. And we're gonna add everything else, which is all in sec. All right. No. We forgot to add this one. Change the last one. Here we go. Has in it. Oh, this should only have site. Yep. New build. This is not in a continuous deployment yet. There we go. That should show up in here in no time. And we can go to actual enzyme. Tap and variable substitute. One last time. Substitution, which happens to be issue number 926. There we go. So in here, we want to add a link to the documentation. Done and documented here. Everyone close the issue. And with that, milestone set, so I'll find it for my changelog. And that's it. That took what? That took about an hour to write. Hour 15 total stream. That's it. I'm gonna go feed the dog and feed myself. Yeah, we'll keep on doing this with smaller issues, easy things to stream, interesting things to stream, and I think you can see us chip away on these issues that are out there. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.